The train on platform 3 goes to...
Please no, the Delta...
I want to recap on what we've had in the last few days and then make mention of two further cases. So we know we had the 60-year-old gentleman who was a limousine driver who had onset of symptoms at around about the 13th of June. And as many of you will be aware, most of you will be aware as you've been at these conferences before, the normal period we would consider as a likely infectious period is the 2 days before, so that takes us back to the 11th of June. So he was infectious on the 11th and 12th before symptom onset. That is becoming a fairly accepted situation now, that this is the type of a crossover event that can occur. The issue that has become apparent in the course of the last few days is that this particular Delta virus is a near and present danger. Shops that clearly don't fit into the essential category don't have to open. One would think that some items that some people might call essential aren't necessarily. I'm not sure that essential oils, for example, would really be essential when you can catch the virus and spread it around. So hopefully common sense will prevail, and I'm sure it will. Hang on a sec. I love your enthusiasm, but I'm actually just going to listen to one person at a time. James.
Minister Hazzard, how damaging is it for the public's perception of the state government's vaccine rollout that New South Wales, or your department, accidentally vaccinated about 160 Joey's boys? How embarrassed are you?
What I find more embarrassing, James, is that you would make that sort of question accusation against frontline health staff who work their butts off and who tomorrow will have achieved a million vaccinations into arms. You know what? The school intended it well, there was a mistake, and so what? It's happened. Out of 1 million vaccinations, move on. Maybe even Kyle will. If Kyle can do Get Vax Baby, and I listened to the song this morning, and I tell you what, it was a light in my life this morning. It's a light in my life to think that there is somebody out there from the media who is not only prepared to put the message out there, but get the message to young people about the fact that it's needed. Danica, don't ruin a good... I know Sky's great, but I've got to say, right now, KISS is doing a lot better job on that. Look, we have the toughest lockdown in the country at the present time. What is not happening is that people are not actually complying, and the rules can be the rules, but if people don't comply, then obviously the community will continue to suffer. I did see Paul Kelly's comments. He hasn't told us what that circuit breaker would be. I just heard what you thought it was, but I haven't heard that. And I checked with my own Chief Health Officer this morning, and she hasn't heard that either. But I think what it does is just expresses the concerns that we all have, that the circuit breaker in New South Wales and in Sydney is for people to comply with the rules. Pretty simple. Just stay at home. That's the circuit breaker. And I think the PM's said that many times as well, as has the Premier. The key here is to stay at home and get vaccinated. Pretty simple formula for pretty well everybody. Stay at home, don't go out unless you have to, don't go and visit another household, and get vaccinated. And the vaccinations are picking up, but we want to see a lot more in the way of vaccinations. I think if we continue the way we're continuing, well, that's positive. But I'd like to see people really getting along to their GPs. The federal government is now, obviously, GPs and pharmacies are in the domain of the federal government in terms of, well, certainly the GPs are definitely, and to a degree the pharmacists are. And they've actually broadened out the vaccination opportunity. So there's really no excuse to not go and get vaccinated. I remain surprised that even in my local area, when I wander around and people stop me and talk to me, that they're telling me they're not vaccinated. Well, go and get vaccinated. That's the name of the game. Go and get vaccinated. That's the name of the game.